the Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.
If you've got an insurance question, you could talk to a park ranger, but the only quotes they'd probably give you would be about the beauty of a fallen leaf or ripples in a pond, not the kind that could save you money on your policies. Or you could talk to your local Geico agent, who's an expert navigator of the insurance landscape. They could use their expertise to guide you on ways to save hundreds on your policies, while leaving it up to your park ranger to save the wilderness and any endangered picnic baskets. Go online to geico.com/local to find a Geico agent near you.
Good afternoon. Would you like to try a free sample of our double fudge brownie?
Oh, sure. That's very good. I'll just take one more, just to be sure. Yep, still very good.
Some things never change, like never being able to take just one free sample. And Geico saving folks lots of money on their car insurance.
Is that macadamia nut I taste? Let me take one more.
Sir?
Yeah, I thought so.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, what are you guys up to?
Oh, little weed, you know.
It's the Weedsman Podcast Nugget.
Zippity what?
Ready to drop the bass? Let's drop the bass.
Whoop-de-doo. What does it all mean?
All the random stuff that didn't fit in Friday's show, you'll find here.
Oh, okay.
Hey, man. You got a joint?
Got a little bit of refly smell on your boy?
What that mean?
Please, just give me my weed, all right?
I saw the headline of that Rolling Stones article that you sent about Phoebe Bridgers. And it says, Phoebe Bridgers on SNL. Yes, it's okay for women to smash guitars. And I immediately thought, like, who said that it wasn't?
Yeah, exactly. Like, you ever heard of Courtney Love? For starters. And or you ever heard of Patti Smythe? Like, who? Yeah. I mean, I've been waiting. We finally got an opening.
Go-Go's? They've probably they've smashed some guitars.
But I've also been waiting for an opportunity to those headlines are obnoxious. Like, can we declare that I hate those headlines that have yes comma or no comma in them? They just come across as fucking obnoxious.
Well, after you sent it, I was like, let me actually read this garbage and see. Oh, it's not recording? Hold on, I'm not recording on my end.
I am.
Thank you. Yeah, I had to read it because I was like, who's actually saying that this is not okay? and on what grounds would they be saying that?
Yeah.
And if the article references one tweet that I guess, quote unquote, blew up on Twitter about, let's see, they have it in here. Why did they don't even say who it was. Why did this woman, Phoebe Bridgers, destroy her guitar on SNL? I mean, I didn't care much for the song either, but that seemed extra. So it's one dude on Twitter who was making like a dumb dad joke, right? It's not even like a criticism of her actually like this person might not have anything wrong with it. They were just like, oh, there's a good joke. I mean, it's an old joke. That's an old dad joke.
Yeah, I wonder how much.
I'm sure the first time that Pete Townsend smashed a guitar, there was a dad somewhere going, "Well, I didn't think he was that bad."
Right. I just always smashing a guitar was the move of somebody with some extra cash. I don't know about you. I'm smashing shit. These things cost money.
Like, if you wanted to write about this, I think I think you're Rolling Stone. This is the type of shit you should be writing about. Do a little piece on how cool you thought her performance was on SNL and how her smashing of the instruments ties into the history of rock and roll and what her performance might add to that or something like that. That's the angle I would go for.
Well, if you can't tie outrage to it, what's worth writing it?
Well, that's the thing. They trip over their own dicks, trying to go for the outrage and completely undermine their own points in some of these. So later on in the article, let me find the actual quote here. The online furor was obviously overblown. Okay, so but you're reporting on it, so
yeah,
it's not too overblown. Or maybe it's not overblown enough and you think you should blow it up a little. Especially considering that it was set off by a female musician following the example of many, many men who have smashed their instruments before her. That is fucking insulting. That is what they're saying is like, smashing an instrument is something that men thought of because, it's an aggressive, rebellious thing. And women who do it are only doing it in imitation of men.
Yep. Sure. That's kind of where I'm at with all these idiots now. Yeah, sure. That's what you want to believe. Go ahead.
No, what they...
It's not true.
That's what I'm saying is what I'm getting from the article.
Well, yeah.
Like what they're saying in this is that she was imitating male rockers before her by smashing her guitar. That I'm saying is insulting.
Well, yeah, there's plenty of chicks who smash the shit.
Right, there's plenty of chicks before her, but it's phrasing it in a way where it's like women would never think of this on their own. That they would only. This is a
or they're mansplaining smashing a guitar.
Right, it can't just be. Now, this is a woman who wrote this. It can't just be that that Phoebe Bridgers smashing her guitar. She is something that she wanted to do because what? She's fucking on national television like SNL. I don't care how big your career is, you're going to get a boost off of it.
Yeah, remember how that was like a show,
and it was kind of like a fun rock star moment for her, and she was like, "Fuck yeah, let's smash this guitar like a real rock star."
Hey, everybody, and remember how it's
and now it's got to be a performance, message, like a thing, like it's a comment on what she's doing. She's not just enjoying herself and smashing a guitar. What she's doing is commenting on rock and roll, and the testosterone in rock and roll historically.
Oh boy, did you not watch? Well, I know you didn't. The Super Bowl yesterday.
I did not.
There's some female officials now and some female coaches and stuff, and just the attitude of like, get used to it. Like, we're already used to it. Like, and nobody ever said you couldn't fucking do it. There was just no people in the field. Now there's people in the field. Like, so people bristled a few years ago, and then we all fucking got used to it. Like, cool, there's chick officials now. Nobody gives a fuck. And you should want it to be nobody gives a... Isn't that the goal, to the level of nobody gives a fuck?
Yes. Yeah, it's not even worth commenting on.
Yeah. There weren't any women in this field. Now there are. Nobody was ever keeping them out before. There was just generally a field males went into.
Yeah, you want to get to the point where it would be awkward to even comment on it.
Yeah,
it's like if you went to a restaurant and had a male waiter, and you're like, "Don't look, honey, but I think our waiter might have a penis."
Right?
Like what the fuck would it even matter? You think they don't have fucking eyes? Like that's all the job of a ref is to have an eyes and brain and be able to use that to make calls.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to oversimplify and say, "Oh, it's so dumb, even a woman can do it." But it's like we're not even talking about a job like I'll hear out your arguments on why you don't think a certain woman should be a fireman, right? Because we want these people to be able to run into fucking buildings really fast and drag many pounds of people out. And if they can do it, that's great. But this is not even a position where there's that discussion to be had over like there's limitations in a female that would stop them from or what they don't understand the sport like a man does.
That was the initial argument, but that went away real quick.
Right, because it's so fucking complicated. Like the reason that people who aren't into sports don't understand them is because they're not into sports. If I was into football, if I suddenly got a hard-on for football, it would take me 20 minutes to understand. I'm not saying I would have a mastery of it, but 20 minutes of studying, and I go, okay, I can sit down and watch a game now.
Yeah, and I even don't have a problem with chick coaches because they're not the ones out on the field. They're
right.
Like it's they keep talking about there's going to be
They
a
might
woman
even
in
be
the
better
NFL
equipped
soon.
to assess things.
But they keep talking about there's going to be a woman in the NFL soon, and I keep going like, okay, but we all know about biology, right? Like, so Rich and I just have a theory. Someone will get horribly injured one day, and they'll shut that noise up real quick. Oh wait,
I think
men are bigger than women. What?
Here and there, I'm sure it will happen, but en masse, I think that good female athletes seem to have more and better long-term options for careers than smacking their head into other people. I'm not saying that they can't take the hits. It's just, why would you when you could be playing tennis?
Right?
And I'm not trying to say that like a woman's place is really on a tennis. They should be making attractive squeals when they smack that ball and their skirt flies up a little bit. I'm just saying that's a better option. Like, what I forget which one is the better champ of the Venus or Serena, but those two are just fucking athletes. Like, they could have played any sport they wanted, and they picked one that they could play for fucking decades and clean up. That was a smart move. What were they going to, like, okay, so they were going to pioneer being on the gridiron with the males and play for 8 years and retire with half your brain capacity?
The push for women in the NFL is kickers. It's usually when they've played in college, it's been kickers. But again, I mean, like, a lot of kickers get blown up by like dudes that are like 6'5" and fucking 400 pounds.
They wanted women for the kickers, but there was too many. Like, with them all lined up like that.
Yeah, let's just say like
the Rockettes.
Like I say, like a kicker gets blown up, man, like by large dudes every now and then. Like, it may not go well. Like there's a reason they don't put small men in the NFL. I imagine getting hit by some of these dudes is like getting hit by a small car.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty tight setup. You don't have a lot of room for cannon fodder out there.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Richie wants to play. All right. I'll let him go out there and take a few hits.
Dude, if a guy under 6 foot makes an NFL roster, you notice him on the field. Like, who's that small guy out there?
Why is one of them farther away from it? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Doing on the other side of the field. Oh, no, he's right next to him.
Yes. Anyway, yeah, we got on this talking, well, it's relevant because the Super Bowl was yesterday, but yeah. Hey, I don't even know who Phoebe Bridger is, by the way. I'm currently doing Top 40 radio, and I've never heard her name or heard anything by her. Is she a rock act? Is she an alternative act?
I don't really know anything about her, and I couldn't say if I've heard a song by her. I'm kind of just annoyed that she came out at the same time as Phoebe Waller-Bridges.
Who I don't know who either of these people are.
That's the star of Fleabag. You know, the woman that you always see on your Amazon tiles with the smeared makeup, maybe a cigarette hanging out of her mouth.
Sure.
Dude, honestly, if you haven't seen Fleabag is a fucking brilliant show. It's
that chick. Yes, I have seen that tile.
Dark. It is the darkest show on TV.
It's a comedy, right?
It's funny as fuck. It's very black humor. It's a lot of watching a woman, her life is falling apart, between like fights with her families, can't find a partner, is abusing drugs, just sleeping around, is just watching her life flush down the toilet, and the whole family's cracking jokes the whole time. I mean, it's kind of, it has like a Shameless type of vibe to it, but it's way better. And Shameless is a good show, and it does what it does really well. It's really fun.
I think Shameless is pretty watchable.
But Fleabag cuts harder and leaves you laughing harder. it balances the elements much better than when I was listening to Smartless. They had Judd Apatow on, and they were talking about Phoebe Waller-Bridges and her show, and I think it was Bateman who described watching her work was like a high wire act, like where she just where she's hitting these targets perfectly over and over again, because these lines that she's delivering, like, they have to be like both devastatingly funny and just fucking devastating. Like one of those things where you find yourself laughing at first and then you want to stop yourself. You're like, wait a minute, I want to.
Should I be laughing at this?
So, right. And then you go back to laughing because you're even questioning it, and then you just oscillate back and forth like, oh my God, that was dark. I think it's just brilliant. That show is an example of somebody who can write brilliantly and execute it perfectly on the screen. Mm-hmm. And that's it. I apparently only have room in my head for one Phoebe. So
wow.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Good afternoon. Would you like to try a free sample of our double fudge brownie?
Oh, sure. That's very good. I'll just take one more, just to be sure. Yep, still very good.
Some things never change, like never being able to take just one free sample. And Geico saving folks lots of money on their car insurance.
Is that macadamia nut I taste? Let me take one more.
Sir?
Yeah, I thought so.
15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
At Josh Prey created this unsolicited jingle for Popeyes, and we're feeling blessed.
Baby, I want Popeyes. Tell me what you want to eat. I want my sandwich that start with a P.
At Josh Prey from Orlando, Florida, on August 19th at 8:59 p.m. Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Hey, it's your home, and I need to ask you a few favors. In the kitchen, there's a spider stuck between the window and the screen, and I know it's dead, and technically it's outside, but it's still freaking me out. Can you flick it out or something? Also, just to save some money, and it's super easy, could you bundle your home and car insurance with Geico? Last thing, could you take the holiday decorations down? Yeah, I'm one of those.
Geico. For bundling made easy, go to geico.com today.
ChristopherMedia.net.
The Weedsman Podcast.
What about Phoebe Cates? What's she up to?
Oh, jeez. She'll always actually be the number one Phoebe.
I was wondering, did she get to keep that bikini?
Did she get to keep it?
Yeah, a lot of the times you get
like
to keep like some of your stuff you wear when you shoot a movie or a TV show.
I guess. Like, I don't know that.
Well, I think now, if she ever, well, I think she married like some Hollywood bigwig, so it wouldn't matter. But if you needed cash, you definitely. The window's closing, but you could auction it off.
Don't quote me on this, but I seem to remember an interview or something with her where she was talking about how iconic that scene is of her coming out of the pool.
Made a lot of boys men. And
she was like, I mean, think about that movie. Like, the idea that this was going to be something that people would remember and quote decades later. Do you think anybody at the time working on that film was thinking that?
I don't think that happens on most movies.
Most movies, and especially that one.
Yeah.
And, there was at the time, no stars in it. And it's not like there was not expected to be a blockbuster. It would, play at some dollar theaters and then go to video and go into rotation at 2 a.m. on HBO. And that's where I think she was thinking her boobs would end up, I don't think that she thought that anyone in her family would even see this movie. And if it was thought of like, oh, I'm doing this iconic scene, this is a big movie and lots of people are going to see my tits, I don't think she would have done it. So I don't think there's a world that exists where she keeps that bikini and goes, I'm going to remember this moment. Like, it was You know what I mean? Like it was, if she had thought about it that much, she probably would have never done the scene.
Yeah. And then smash cut to it's, on, AFI's list of, best films of all time, probably.
I mean, it's a fun film that managed to kind of set a tone for comedies. That was, I don't know.
It was kind of like one of the first. You could say it was a prototypical stoner comedy.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, I was going to call it kind of a stoner comedy, but it's not, but it is. It's trying to be just a coming of age story with some raunchiness thrown in. But the raunchiness hits a lot better in that movie than anything else.
Got 100 articles about what happened to her. I just typed it. Did she keep the bikini?
I think she
married some. She married rich. She married some Hollywood
I was going to say,
dude, and had a bunch of kids.
I think she married a lawyer or like an entertainment lawyer or somebody like that, and was just like, I don't need this shit.
Yeah, she retired in 1994. Oh yeah, that's right. She's married to Kevin Kline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
She made a bunch of kids with Kevin Kline and got married.
That's a couple I want to watch fuck. that makes sense.
Maybe in the 90s.
Who doesn't want to watch them? Oh, come on. Now.
It depends how she's kept herself up. Because I'm sure not in a hurry to see 60-something Kevin Kline doing it with anybody.
Where's he been? Has he popped up in anything recently? Fish Called Wanda was like one of my favorite films as a kid.
Yeah, he's 73 years old.
Damn.
I don't want to watch him fuck anything. Yeah, he's been married. Hey, good for him. He bought high. He married Phoebe Cates in 1989.
He needs a mustache at all times, but Kevin Kline without a mustache, honestly, just doesn't do it for me. Like, honestly, you see him without it. If you just see a picture of Kevin Kline out of context with no mustache, you'd be like, who's that dude?
Well, yeah, in the movie Dave, he's got no mustache in that movie. So far, the most recent thing I'm seeing,
and I always forget he's in it,
is that Beauty and the Beast remake in 2017.
Well, that was the live action one, huh?
Yes.
Yeah. What was he? Was he the Beast? No, he wouldn't have been a lead. He's on Bob's Burgers.
God damn it, IMDb.
Kevin Kline's kind of like one of those people who will never be sure if he's a good actor because he's just too charming.
Fair enough. And like, is this guy good or is he just likable? Oh, apparently a movie called Here Today in 2021.
Right.
Yeah, Bob's Burgers.
Like George Clooney.
Right.
Like
ladies, it goes both ways. It happens with dudes too. Like, is that guy good, or do just a lot of people want to fuck him?
Yeah.
Hey, we had two-term president in the 90s. Kind of same deal. Is this guy a good politician, or is he just really good at bullshitting?
But I never got the attraction, though.
I didn't. It had to be his personality. I mean, there were so many stories about him nailing somebody. It just had to be his personality, because it couldn't be that bulbous nose. Do you know there was a Prairie Home Companion movie, and Kevin Kline was in it?
I did know that. I did. I'm trying to remember if I saw it.
What the fuck did you make a...
What year did it come out?
2006.
Yeah, it was kind of a meta. It was a movie about a performance of the show, but it wasn't like going to see Hamilton at the theater, right? There was actual like little backstage bits and stuff that tied in. So they dramatized a production of the show, I guess is the best way to put it.
They mighty winded it. They Christopher Guested it. But without the comedy.
Yeah, kind of. But it wasn't done in a documentary style. It was just done as a drama. Like, nobody addressed the camera.
Oh, whoa, oh. Whatever.
I listened to quite a bit of...
sure, Garrison Keillor got paid.
Garrison Keillor. And, I don't know, it's not like anything was, like, super hilarious on that show. It's just comforting.
Probably just made sure in the most folksiest way possible to make sure they spelled his name right on the check. He was the weirdest Me Too, right?
I guess I don't know.
Like, just first of all, just the fact he was anywhere near it, for starters.
It was the last name you expected to pop up.
And then wasn't it just like he gave somebody like a neck massage or something?
I think he was rubbing somebody's back, and his hand went up her shirt.
Wait, are we supposed to go allegedly?
But yeah, that was the story. I don't even know where. I mean, it's not like he was going to fight it. Like, he was just like, all right, well, yeah. So I retired 2 years earlier.
Yeah. By the way, I'm 85, okay. So I guess we'll just retire now.
Yeah. But the kind of sad thing is that they pretty much erased his legacy, right? They didn't cancel his show. His show got handed to another person, another host, and they went with the name, I think, for the first season with the new host, and then they rebranded.
So you could argue that cements his legacy because they went away with him.
They renamed the show. Well, yeah,
it was his thing. True. Now that it's something else, it's not. It's something else.
I guess, but it seemed like it was. Like he was building something with the intention of it having that it wouldn't have to die with him. And honestly, I don't think. I mean, if you want to read it as flattering, more power to you. But I don't think that if it wasn't for the scandal, they would have dropped the name A Prairie Home Companion, because that's a big brand for them, and just like they'll run Car Talk into eternity, the same 300 episodes over and over again, even though they stopped doing that show a decade ago, they're not going to let something go that is still profitable for them, unless something like this comes along.
Right. Give it time, or someone will have an old tweet will be unearthed. Did you watch Saturday Night Live? Which, by the way,
no, I haven't.
Everyone's talking about how strong it's been the last couple weeks.
I've seen some clips, and if that's the best that's going around, I mean...
Well, I have SNL, I think, since about maybe 10 or 15 years ago. I don't know. Maybe even really the last 10. Let's not even pick on 15 years ago. Only seems to be as strong as the person hosting it. Like, you know why the John Krasinski one was good? Because he's a fucking professional comedic actor. You know why the Daniel Levy one was good? Because fucking same thing. It's Daniel Levy. Yes. Have fucking, stunt
casting. Yeah, it doesn't work for him anure. Not unless you have like somebody super strong on there.
Well, sure. But the other thing too is they have to do it, but they seem to have to do it now for impressions. They never used to have to do it before. Like playing Donald Trump.
Farm them out.
Yeah, playing Donald Trump for 4 years. Do you think the SNLs that we watched, they would have farmed that out? Fuck no. First of all, they had Daryl Hammond. But then before Daryl Hammond, they had Phil Hartman. There was always like that one guy that was their impressionist. Is that not a thing anymore?
It doesn't seem like it's much of a thing, right? It's a thing that people will do, right? Like, so a comedian or an actor will go on a talk show and, hey, I heard you do an impression of me or something like that, and, it seems like it's more like a party trick these days.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when's the last time you seen a stand-up do an impression?
Because everybody wants to do fucking improv now. Because people don't want to get canceled for doing stand-up.
Right. So I think what's happening at SNL is, they're looking for new talent always, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure they realize that, the ratings aren't like they used to be, and they're going to need to find the new hotness, and they're going to have to cast a wider net because it's 2021.
Yeah.
But casting a wider net doesn't mean that you lose track of your fundamentals of what you need for core players for a type of show that you're putting together. You know, you're not putting together an improv show. There's no improv in SNL. You're putting together a sketch show in which you often write sketches that involve people and events in the news. So why are you not hiring people that can do impressions?
Yeah. But anyway,
I think that's what. And they have cast a wider net. They found some great people, but again, if you don't focus on the bottom line of what you want your show to be, then you lose track of it. And like you said, it's only as strong as your key player of the guest host.
But I brought it up for watch because they had a bit on Weekend Update. Basically, cancel culture has jumped the shark if SNL's making fun of it. Mm-hmm. You know, and it was just two people talking about. There's one group that we've been leaving out, and it was kids. You know,
yeah. I heard a little bit of that one.
Yeah. So I just kind of had that thought. Yeah, dude, cancel culture. If you're now being satirized, perhaps it's time to look in the mirror.
Yeah. Yep. Reel it back in a little bit, and that's what comedy is there for, right? I'm sorry.
It's the third.
It's
rail,
not what
right?
it's not what it's there for, but it is one of the strongest characteristics of good comedy. Is that it does make people stop and think. So, like the next time that you see somebody doing something, you're like, "That's outrageous," and this person shouldn't be on this platform or have a job anywhere. And then you realize that you're talking about a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
You might stop and remember that SNL skit and laugh at yourself and go, "Oh my God, I'm one of those people in that SNL skit." And then you don't tweet it, right?
But a podcast I listened to brought up
it helps us process shame in ways that's healthy for us, right? So we can just go, oh, they called me. Like that's some of the jokes that always land the best is when somebody goes, "Oh yeah, he got me there."
But
that skit about shopping online at 3:30. Yeah. Oh, that's totally me. He nailed me, right? And you're able to accept that and process that little bit of shame while you're laughing with everybody else. And then the next time you're shopping at 3:30 in the morning, you'd be like, "Maybe I should just shut the iPad off. I'm being that dude again." And you remember that dude's funny joke, you chuckle and you shut the light off and go to bed and you don't buy anything. Maybe. I don't know.
A point was brought up on a podcast I listened to, though, that we already kind of do cancel kids retroactively. Like it's happened with a few like college athletes lately. Or, like guys who end up going pro. Yeah. Like a tweet from when they were 12 or 13 shows up.
Yeah. No, I had heard a lot about this shit, like being dumb kids.
Like, dude.
Right? Imagine all the dumb shit you said at those ages.
Can you imagine if there was social media when we were that age? No! I would not want to go. I don't want to go back and read some of the things I posted when I was 28, let alone 12.
Here's the thing. I think if there was social media back then at this point in history, we would be over it already, and there wouldn't be such thing as cancel culture because we would all be living in glass houses with a long trail, a CVS receipt of tweets and social media activity that we don't want anyone really digging into because it goes all the way back to when we were 12 and saying dumb shit online.
I was speaking more to just where our brains were at 12 and 13. Like, oh my God, no, I should not have had social. No, you need to hear what I had to say at 12 and 13.
Oh, absolutely. No, but that's what I'm saying. So the people, the youngins who are saying dumb shit online right now are going to be the ones that are going to, they're going to be the ones running shit in the future, right? And there won't be any such thing as cancel culture because, what it's like a Mexican standoff. You know, everybody's will have something stupid. Yeah, everyone will have something stupid in their past that can be dredged up and used against them. And if everybody has that, then nobody has that. If everybody thinks that they have ammo against everyone else, then it's just a stalemate. So I think what I'm saying is we will get to that point. You know, cancel culture. This SNL joke is kind of the beginning of the end for that, right? We are approaching that point where, a lot of people are realizing, there's people out there who got on Twitter right away and they were teens and now they're in their 20s. And,
I've just never
maybe they did. I'm sure they could delete tweets, but maybe there's screen caps out there.
I've just never understood this whole mentality of, like, you don't deserve a livelihood because I disagree with you. Like, that's how you're going to roll? Life's going to be pretty long for you if that's how you're going to roll with people. And also be prepared for a lot of people to hate you.
Well, that doesn't seem like a drastic measure when you consider that a person's viewpoint or actions are poisonous to society. So that's why if you want to get somebody canceled, that's all you have to do is equate their actions or something about them to something else like Nazism or just being anti-democratic or, being hyper-religious. You tie it to something like that and...
You're part of what's wrong with society.
And then you can justify your actions. You might be doing things that would be considered horrible if they were unprovoked, but, you've been provoked by the aggression of the bigotry of others, right?
Allegedly. Yeah, I mean, that's...
I'm speaking from the viewpoint of somebody who thinks this way.
Yeah, the royal we, yes.
Yeah. But, that's part of what I love about Twitter is that it's a place where people can just spout off complete and utter nonsense. And in a way where you can just barge in on anyone's conversation and do it. So there's a tweet from,
I think it was Alec Baldwin recently called Twitter. It's a party where everybody's yelling.
Right. But you could have two people having a conversation that know one another, and then this other dude just walks in out of nowhere.
Some rando.
Right. So this one that I was reading earlier, so James Gunn was tweeting about I forget what this even stands for, Previs? It's some kind of film term. It's, pre-visualizations, that's what it was. So they kind of do... I don't know how in depth they do it, but they do a rough shoot, and kind of to give the producers or whoever they're trying to get on board for their production, give them an idea. It's basically a step beyond storyboards. Instead of just showing them some pictures of here's where they're going to have a fight and here's where some shit blows up, throw something rough together and go, here's generally what we're thinking. It's like a sketch of a movie, basically.
All right.
And he says, most directors control what the previs is. It's another tool like storyboarding. All previs for the Guardians movies is based on my storyboard. So this is in response to a conversation about previs in general. And this rando chimes in response to James Gunn, director of a few Marvel movies, some pretty big movies, about to direct or are currently in the act of directing the Suicide Squad for DC. This guy says Marvel hires lower directors who have only done few films and promises them ability to make their own future films if they agree to make a Marvel film that they have no control over.
Wow.
In fact, they barely direct, as the familiar crew usually do it on any TV show. Right? This man, his name is John Schlauser, and I looked, I couldn't find any directing credits for any of the Marvel productions recently, so I don't know where he's getting this very first-hand knowledge of what goes on behind the scenes there.
Hey man, we're almost a year into everyone being a doctor, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, but where else could that happen? This is it's basically James Gunn is at a party, some Hollywood party having a conversation about, about using even lingo that like nobody even uses. So he's having a very insider conversation. And some dude wanders in off the street.
From the comic book shop.
Hey,
yeah.
Is that James Gunn? Oh, he's one of the Marvel directors, huh? Let me tell you about Marvel directors.
Yeah.
Like, it's absolutely insane.
It's like your white friend going, hey, let me tell you about being black.
Yeah.
Or your black friend going, hey, let me tell you about being white.
And he doesn't know when to quit either. Like, it's pointed out to him, you're literally telling this to James Gunn.
Yeah.
James Gunn says, thanks for the inside information on that job. And on that job that I have and that you do not.
Yeah.
Twitter is quite a thing sometimes. And then later on, the guy responds again, I wonder why you stayed quiet the entire time. Some people have no idea how the film industry works. What?
Is he just trolling?
He's made films.
He's just
How can
trolling.
he have no idea? Like, you're telling him, like, he works in the industry and has managed to, like, make multi-million-dollar movies that have netted multi-billions of dollars and still has remained ignorant of how the industry works. I tell you, I think if that's the case, I'm jealous, and he's a genius. James Gunn makes magic without even knowing what the fuck he's doing. Right? He just flies in and he's like, I don't know, we're going to throw some Hulk over here and we're going to have Thor swing his hammer around a couple times and then aliens come and shit blows up, right? All right, wrap it up. Slap a Marvel logo on it and we're done.
Yeah. And scene. Make $1 billion.
If your friends haven't told you, McDonald's Spicy Chicken McNuggets are back. The ones made with spicy tempura and aged cayenne. But before you go telling friends, make sure you get them first. Order ahead on the McDonald's app. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
For a limited time at participating McDonald's.
Call 1-888-FARMERS to switch, and you could save an average of $470 on your auto insurance. That's a lot of money in just a few minutes. With savings like that, you could be lounging on an impractical amount of ornate and overpriced throw pillows you bought for your couch. But you won't, because you're better with money than that. That's why you're calling us in the first place. Call 1-888-FARMERS to get a quote today.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Based on average nationwide annual savings survey data July to December 2020. Underwritten by Farmers Trucker Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate. Products not available in every state.
The Weedsman Podcast.
ChristopherMedia.net.